Hi, this is a foreigner living in the Philippines. If you've been watching our videos, you'll know that we always try to keep things real. We try to give you little snatches of what life is really like in the Philippines for ordinary people, for people perhaps like you and me. And when we go out on our projects, we decide that we're going to go out and do a video on something. We never really know how that's going to end. These things, these little quests, these little projects tend to take on a life of their own, and they take you in a way which may or may not be sweet. Sometimes they're bittersweet. Well, we've just been out on and made a series of videos, real life videos, about a small town, family and community in a small place called Ubay. And it's very picturesque. Obviously, like most places in the Philippines, it's rather beautiful. And why would we go there? We went there to look at a particular church, which is a church community, and my brother-in-law and Beth's sister live there. We wanted to look at their house because at some point or other we'd like to try to help to improve the house, do some repairs and improvements, and so that was one of the motivations. And then the next was to actually look at Gilbert, my brother-in-law, is the pastor in a tiny church. It's there in a very small community, probably about 20 or maybe 30 people, including children. And as I say, we never really know how this is going to lead us, where it's going to lead us, and very often it can be far from what we thought. Well, when we got there, we saw Gilbert and Violi's house, which is very, very modest. He built the house himself. He has little income. He's a hard-working man. They're a good family, as all of my extended family are. Now, when you look at this series of videos that we made, which is 2 or 3, you will see that I get pretty overwhelmed with emotion by what we experienced. When we went to this small church, it's not a church in the way that anybody in the West would see it. It's more like an unfinished garage. It's just a tiny building. They made this thing from cinder blocks. I call them cinder blocks. They call them hollow blocks here, which they buy almost half a dozen at a time, which is what they can afford. The church is half built, but the atmosphere was just electric. The joy and the level of happiness that these people have, it's a secret that if you could bottle it, you could sell it in America and in the UK or any other country in the West for millions of dollars. It's just incredible. And they're doing everything on no resources at all. And that I just found heartbreaking. They're studying and reading from tattered Bibles, and they bring their own chairs and stools. They, at the end of the service, and I'm leaping ahead here, but at the end of the service, I saw people carrying a fan away that they'd contributed to the proceedings. I saw people riding away taking speaker cabinets that they'd used for the sound system. They just have nothing. And I couldn't help but think about the fabulously rich churches in America. That's my most recent experience of religion in America. Churches where they spend more on having the place cleaned than this little tiny community had been able to afford to build their church. So I couldn't help feeling, for God's sake, can't somebody help these people? Isn't anybody that's going to watch these videos at times when I can't actually talk, can't somebody help them? Isn't there a church out there? I saw a church in Fort Myers that had a yard sale to raise money. They raised so much money. Somebody donated a Ford Mustang, a vintage Ford Mustang. Somebody donated an RV. They had so much furniture that they had donated that they had to rent 2 or 3 huge marquees. They raised thousands and thousands of dollars. Even a couple of thousand would be beyond riches for this little church. You'll see the videos. If you are touched in any way, then you'll understand why I would be emotional about it. And I'm not even a Christian. I went along just as a spectator, and they welcomed me, and I hope that the feeling and the atmosphere communicates to you as a viewer in probably your very comfortable home, maybe on a computer system that is worth more than this entire church has cost them to build so far. If you look at this, you can specify what you want your donation to go to. Say the church nearby, and it will go to them in its entirety. Every single penny that you send, you can send through me, and you can see a video of the money being handed over. There is nothing that I would give more to see, that I would love to see more than to see this little church finished, that they should have chairs, that they should have, maybe a church out there could send 50 Bibles. Maybe they could send some picture books. Look at the kids in these things. They are dressed to the sacrifice of their parents, who are living in dirt floor houses, as you will see my brother-in-law and his wife. If you want to give anything to help Gilbert and Violi, then say that that's where you want it to go. If you want it to go to children, anything. Please like, comment, subscribe, and help if you can. Look at the videos. They're done from the heart, showing the people who are holding their faith together, just literally by their fingernails. If you're Christian, these are people that could really, really help you, could do with your help. Now, even if I think about it now, I get emotional because of just what they are doing and what they are, their faith in God, in their religion, in wanting to be close to the Creator, which is the best way I can put it for myself. So have a look, experience, try to view it as something that you could make an enormous difference to. You can find me at GoFundMe on Island Hilltop Community by Terence Flannery. And anything that you send, you should designate it, the donation. You can put it through the fundraiser that my wife Beth and I have for our own plans, but you can put it through the fundraiser there, and be assured that the money will go to this little community who so badly need your help. This is me, a foreigner living in the Philippines. I hope that you will like, comment, subscribe, and